Welcome to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or we'll buy it. If you have any questions, just give us a call at 799-9596 or check us out online at teamlally.com.
Well, hey, everybody, this is the art part of the show, and what I want to talk to you guys about, to our listeners, maybe bring to the forefront of your attention, is social media influence. Two things I was getting this information from. I did listen to, one of my favorite podcasts is TED Radio Hour, and we know the TED Talks, and the TED Talk is somebody talking for how long?
Like 20 minutes.
Like, it is 20 minutes.
Yes,
that's 20
minutes.
It is 20 minutes, and I think, what is it, like technology, education, something, I don't know, making design. And I think the winner of the main TED Talk thing every year gets like $1 million to put towards their idea. So it's a pretty big deal. Then they got the offshoots, TEDx, and like mini versions of the TED Talks. And then, so TED Radio Hour will take a particular theme and then combine 4 or 5 different TED Talks and those guests and their things and compiling it all together in one hour. So you have multiple perspectives on the same topic. And then, so it was about just how things in our world influence our decision making. And then I watched on my algorithm on Netflix is documentaries, and I watched The Liver King. And The Liver King is this guy that he has he says, you have to live back to our ancestral roots. But his big, 50 million views, TikTok and X and all that stuff was coming from the fact that he was just eating cow organs. So his big thing, he would be a big thing of liver.
That's gross.
And
hence the name The Liver King.
Anyway, and he was saying that dad got rid of eczema and helped his kids and no more processed foods and blah, blah, blah. And he was really...
Was he eating it raw?
Yeah, eating it raw.
Oh.
And then his body was really
ripped.
Really ripped. And he kept being asked. And this is a big thing. So if you have young teenage boys and girls and just teenagers, they're being influenced by these influencers that get on there, and they're young and they're really ripped and really jacked. And the term that you hear out there is called natty. What does that mean?
That would mean that they're all natural, like they're not using any kind of steroids or hormones.
Steroids. It just means no steroids, no human growth what is it? Human growth hormones, HGH. And so this guy adamantly, and he's making millions. He's making like $100 million a year on his supplements and his influence and all his social media platforms. And he was asked multiple times, it's recorded, are you using steroids? Because people are like, there's no way you can get to that size and definition without steroids. And he was adamantly saying he was not using steroids.
It was all from the liver.
It was all from eating raw cow organs and working out like a maniac every day. And guess what happened?
There was a discovery.
An email. He was spending $10,000 a month on steroids.
Ooh, that's a lot of money.
Whatever. And this email got leaked, and then it got exposed, and then he had to go and apologize. And the point being is that
things are not always as they appear.
I would tell you right now, if you're making major life decisions based on how many views or followers someone has, maybe I'll be the Liver King for a moment. You're a knucklehead. And because there's nothing substantiated. So here's the good news is anybody has access to media. And before, in the old school days, you were ABC, CBS, or NBC. You were 60 Minutes. You had a big budget. And when you went out there and said something, it was like fact-checked.
Yes.
Now on social media, you know what the fact check is? You got 50 million views. So the point being is he was promoting a lifestyle and what to eat and all of that to a bunch of people, and it wasn't true. And he was making millions and millions of dollars. So the point of the TED Talk and this documentary was that be very, very careful when you're going to make decisions in your life based on, I would not be getting relationship advice from Mr. Beast.
Why not?
Because that makes no sense whatsoever. If I wanted to say, hey, folks, in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to be blowing up a $20 million jet. Like, if I wanted that kind of advice, I would go to Mr. Beast. But again...
But what about, like, for his Mr. Beast burgers?
Yeah.
Those are pretty popular.
Yeah, those are pretty popular. But the point being, folks, is that just be aware of the influence that you are partaking in on what your kind of decisions you make, and watch your kids.
Yeah.
Your kids do not have the discernment, and the influencers and the YouTubers and all of that have so much control over what your kids are doing today, whether it makes sense or not, whether it's healthy for them or not, whether it's safe for them or not. Speaking of someone that has influence and credibility and backs it up, and is everything they say is what they do, and they do what they say.
And we have fact-checked this.
And we have fact-checked this, and this is like, we will bet our personal credibility and the credibility of our company on referring people with investment properties to this person. Who's that?
That would be Duke Kimhan of Hawaii Pacific Property Management.
Hey, Duke.
Well, I think you guys have known me almost 18 years now.
Yeah, I know.
Long
Very
time.
long
Probably
time.
a fair bet to say that I would do what I say.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you if I can't do it.
Yep.
You're very, very upfront about it. And I think that is why you have so many happy customers and repeat customers and longtime customers, because you're honest and upfront.
Yeah.
So,
what you got for us this week? Yeah.
Okay, so the subject this week is pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's parking.
Yo.
Parking in Hawaii is gold.
Yes.
And I tell owners that.
Yeah.
The difference between a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2 parking and a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1 parking is about $200.
Whoa. Per month on the rent,
Yep, asking per rent for as long as they stay there. And I got to tell you that most people that rent a 1-bedroom, 1-bath have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or
somebody
a
else.
friend. And they're going to need another parking space.
Yeah.
So the hardest places to rent are the places on Alawai.
Yeah.
There is no guest parking on those streets.
Yeah.
And it's really, really tough. Luckily, the service vehicles can park in the designated parking stalls for the guest or service vehicle parking.
Yeah.
But overnight parking on the Alawai is really tough because you got to get up really early and move your car. Yeah, before that parking lane gets opened at like 6 a.m. in the morning. They tow you away.
And Duke,
no questions asked.
I know that they tow him for a fact. You know how I know?
Have you been towed?
Because you got towed.
So back in 1985, I was supposed to go my high school graduation, and we were down in Waikiki, and we stayed overnight. We just had a little party, and I left my 73 VW Bug on Alawai. And then when I got up next morning to go to commencement rehearsals, my car was gone.
Oh.
So they do tow.
That's a forever lesson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then,
I get a lot of questions, and people ask me, can I just leave a car that we have in the garage?
Yeah.
So when I come back to Hawaii, I'll have a car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You mean go buy a storage place for it, because you're going to rent out your single-family home in Manoa, and then you're going to ask the people to leave your car in the garage.
Yeah.
It's just, people come up with the weirdest requests.
Yep.
So, or I had one the other day where the owner said, hey, can I leave all of my furniture under a tarp in my garage and just have the people park outside? And I said, just get rid of it. Good Lord.
I know I know one request that was approved. They had grandma in a big cryogenic cylinder, and she was in the garage. But then, had one power outage. No, just kidding. That didn't really happen.
Wow.
I got to tell you that storage in Hawaii always ends up in the garage. It's a thing.
Yeah.
And if you want to rent out your house and make the maximum amount of money, give them the garage. Give them the garage door opener.
Yeah.
People pay a lot of money for a secured garage like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go rent a storage facility or just sell all your stuff. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
You're going to net more money on that rental.
An average single-family home in Ewa, or Ewa Kapolei, is about the average cost is about $1.3 million. That's what it's going to sell for.
Yeah.
So the rental price on 4.5% return on investment is going to be about $4,300 to $4,400 per month.
Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing, even like single family homes in Eva Beach. Like I was just looking at one the other day where same neighborhood, the house is identical, except one house, why it got under contract so fast is because it had the long driveway and it had like extra parking. It could park 6 cars, 2 in the garage, 4 in the driveway. It was so. I mean, that's a premium. Especially, I don't know. I don't want to blame what the mayor was who did it, but I know in Waikiki, all the cross streets between Kohio and Alawai and Kalakaua, they added trees, and so they eliminated a lot of the cross street parking in Waikiki because they wanted to beautify it. And, there's a lot of flack, but here we are today. So quite a couple hundred street parkings got eliminated in Waikiki. We got trees.
People just don't understand. Yeah. Well, just find somebody with one car. Well, that's impossible.
Yeah.
You cannot control who's coming in to look at your properties.
Yeah.
So just remember, they want what's best for them, not what's best for you.
Yeah. Duke, one more thing.
That's all I got.
Yeah, well, one more thing, Duke, because you had mentioned it before regarding parking. Why does Hawaii Pacific Property Management not want to take properties that have no parking?
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
Well, we have to give the sad news to people when they have that situation of, I'm sorry, I can't take your property, because it's just too hard to rent. And I got to look for a specific renter that can fit in there. And what happens when I got to go show the property? Where do I park?
Yeah.
And then
what
happens when we have to fix stuff? Yeah. In your apartment. Yeah. Where do they park?
Yep.
It's people that buy in that situation, they think they'll never rent out their place. And they're fine with that because they have a moped or something.
Yeah.
Or they live close to their working place. Or they catch the bus.
Yeah. We have an Uber plumber. The plumber gets dropped off by Uber.
But for us, it's a no-go.
Yeah. Makes sense. So think about that now when you're looking at investment properties. No more parking.
Correct.
Yeah, parking has to be a part of that criteria.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Duke.
All right. Speaking of somebody else that, again, at the beginning of the show, we were talking about going on social media and seeing somebody that has a lot of influence based on their followers and views and likes. Well, we have a different group of influencers called Experts We Trust. And these are people that we know for a fact and trust with our own business with them and our clients, that they 100% have integrity, are going to do it and do a good job. And who is that next person, speaking of with the mortgages?
That would be Jodie Tanga, the mortgage genius. And you can also follow her on Instagram. She's always posting helpful little tips of the week. Yeah. So you don't have to wait until the Team Lally Radio Show comes on. You can go follow her, and she always has something of value.
All right.
So, Jodie, what do you have for us this week?
What you got for us this week?
Hi.
Hello.
Well, today I was going to talk about some credit score hacks.
Yeah, we like credit score hacks.
Yeah, so just a refresher, because credit score, your credit score, is so important to not only overall qualifications, but when we are getting into the deep dive and we are comparing loan options for you, whether it be FHA versus conventional, your credit score does play a big role.
Yes.
And so at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you qualify, you're happy with your monthly payment, and that you can move forward and get home ownership.
Yeah.
That is, that's layer one. But layer two is we do want to be strategic, and we want to get a hold of you guys as early as possible so that we can talk about credit score and you're doing the right steps.
Yeah.
Two main tips that I like to have people do.
Yes.
Because it is so very tricky, the way that they do it. And I could go on about why it's tricky, but we don't have to go there.
Yes.
But what happens is your monthly payment due date is different than the institution's credit reporting date.
Okay, like give us an example. What does that mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you're like, well, I did, maybe I have a smaller credit limit balance, right? Only 1,000.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do max it, but I always pay it off in full on the payment due date, right?
Yes.
So you're thinking, I pay it off in full. Like, yes, I use it, but I pay it off, so I'm all good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this should be generating positive credit for me. And on the one hand, it absolutely is generating positive credit for you because you are making on-time payments. And so that is one criteria that feeds into the algorithm that is definitely positive, right?
On-time payments.
On the other hand, right, on-time payments. On the other hand, because the reporting date is different than the due date.
Yes.
If they report 5 or 6 days earlier than the monthly payment due date, they are literally reporting into the algorithm that you have maxed out credit cards every single month.
Oh. And that is hurtful to your credit score.
Yeah.
Correct.
So what's the solution, Jodie?
What is the reporting date?
Yeah, give us the strategy.
Tell us.
Well, so it's labor intensive, but the strategy is you got to call and you got to say, hey, when is my reporting date?
Mm-hmm. Well, you mean from the individual creditors or the credit
from the
reporting?
credit card?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The credit card,
yeah.
Yes. Like you're going to call Hawaiian Airlines Bank of Hawaii credit card.
Yeah.
And you're going to say, when's my reporting date? And they're going to be like, I see here that your reporting date is on the 5th. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to say, well, then why is my monthly payment due on the 8th? Mm-hmm. Because that means none of my payments are being showed before you're reporting to the bureau, right? And they're not going to know how to answer that. But there's two things you can do. You can move your payment date so that your payment date is before the reporting date, which is totally possible. Or you can just know in your head that I need to pay before my payment due date. Like, I don't care when it's due. I need to pay before the reporting date because that's what is negatively impacting my credit score.
So Jodie, when you've coached people on using this strategy, what have you seen? Like, what kind of improvements have you seen on the credit score just with this one little tweak?
Oh, I mean, massive. So for people, especially people that are like, well, I do not, even though I utilize credit, I usually don't carry a balance above 30%, right? And I'm like, awesome, you're like educated, right? But then I review credit and I'm like, oh, your card's maxed out.
Yeah.
And then they're like, but I pay it down every month, down to like less than 30%.
This reminds me of one Seinfeld episode. George Costanza. Mm-hmm. He was like,
love him.
Or maybe it was Jerry, but anyway, they were at the bagel shop or like someplace where they have the tips. And I think it was George, and he put the tip in, but it was the coffee shop, but the barista turned away. And he didn't see him put the tip in. He's like, why should I put the tip in if they don't even see me putting the tip in? So what does he do? He reaches in to grab the money out, and then the barista turns around going, what the heck are you doing, stealing my tips? He's like, no, I just put that. Anyway, that's like the reporting date. You just want to make sure that they see that you paid early and that,
and they're giving you good scores.
Yeah, don't pull a George Costanza.
Yes, I like that. That's a good little memory
by the way,
hook.
Jodie, I Googled it. Like, I have an Apple card, so I said, when does my Apple credit card report the reporting date? Mm-hmm. What is my reporting date for my Apple credit card? That's literally what I Googled. AI came back with this. The reporting date for your Apple card is generally within a few days after your statement closing date. Goldman Sachs, the issuer of the Apple card, reports your account activity to 3 major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, on a monthly basis. The exact date varies, but it's not usually on the last day of the month. You can typically find this information on your monthly statement. There you go.
Okay.
Well, that's the Apple card, Goldman Sachs.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you can. It's not going to say when the reporting date is because they try to be sneaky about it.
Mm-hmm. Sneaky? No way. Credit cards companies sneaky? No, that's not true.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would definitely call in.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and just say straight up, like, when is my reporting date?
Oh, I had another question about the thing here before we let you go. You know, when you get the Credit Karma, like I have the Credit Karma on my app because some people are like, you know, there's people that like to go on Facebook or TikTok, and then there's people like me. I just like looking at my Credit Karma app every once in a while, see if my score went up or down. How like realistic, like is that if you go do a hard credit pull, is that going to be pretty close to what I would see on Credit Karma at any given time?
So that's a great question, and the answer is no, because that's a consumer-based credit scoring algorithm, credit model, basically.
Yeah.
It's the most lenient of all the models, so there's multiple credit scoring models that exist.
Yeah.
For example, if you're applying for personal loan, you're going to have a different credit score than if you apply for an auto loan. You're going to have a different credit score than if you're applying for a home loan.
Yeah, you know what? I think you would get this because you played soccer in college. So it's like AYSO versus club soccer. If you're not good enough, you're going to get cut. And so not everybody gets a good. So Credit Karma is like AYSO. Everybody gets a trophy.
A home loan, a 30-year mortgage, is a lot more serious than an unsecured personal loan, for example, or even an unsecured credit card.
Gotcha.
There's more factors that feed into the algorithm that we review.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a big tip that has helped a lot of our buyers. You can see a plus 20, 40 points easily because they're using their credit, but they're actually paying it down every month, you know, and they're just paying it down at the wrong time. So that when the credit, the institution reports, it's maxed, but they're paying it down every month. So even they're not paying that much interest on it at all, but their score is not reaping any of those benefits.
Gotcha. Find out what the reporting date is.
This is an excellent little hack and a great tip of the week. So thank you so much, Jodie, for this.
Call your credit card company and say, I want to do the sneaky department and find out when your your reporting date is, you sneaky bleepity bleeps.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jodie. Excellent tip.
Yeah. Thank you, Jodie. All right.
So that was Jodie Tanga of Pacific Rim Mortgage. She is an expert we trust. You can find her on the resource tab.
Yeah.
And all her contact info, some videos, and
anyway, we're going to call them the Team Lally influencers, you know, never mind YouTube, TikTok, and X and all that stuff. You can bet that you can trust our Team Lally influencers, experts we trust. Next one up has to do with, he's a guy, you know what? I would say that this expert we trust has been the longest expert we trust.
He's been with us since the beginning.
Who's that?
That would be Bradley Maruyama of Allstate Insurance.
Yeah. Hey, Bradley.
Hey, what's up?
I know.
Okay, my tip of the week.
Yeah.
For years, I think as long as I've been an agent, 20 years.
Yeah.
We've only been able to offer a FEMA-based flood policy.
Okay.
But since February, we were able to use a hurricane carrier that has a flood policy as an endorsement, which will suffice a lot of loans.
Yeah.
A lot of times we've been finding that it's cheaper, less requirements, such as elevation certificates, but they aren't taking in every single risk zone, meaning if they have limits. So, for an example, on East Honolulu, I'm not able to place any more flood policies on this hurricane carriers as a rider in Aina. But, you know, places like Laie, Haula, we're still able to add this rider on and suffice the loan. So when you are in a flood zone purchasing a policy, make sure that you are getting all options on your flood insurance to make sure that you'll be able to qualify for your property.
And this is an excellent tip. I know that, you know, we've had some properties that we've come to Bradley and his team about that actually have the elevation certificate, and we were pleasantly surprised with what you guys came back with as far as that flood insurance. because, you can be unpleasantly surprised, and then, your buyer doesn't qualify because that flood insurance can be extremely high without the elevation certificate. So,
and with that said, I kind of brought up Hau'ula. I've been noticing a lot of transactions with homes that are on the water. So if the home is older and on the water, meaning within 250 feet, we've been having a hard time placing insurance, even when we refer to brokers and not even get paid on it. They've been having a really, really hard time placing these older homes that sit on the water. So prior to putting in an offer, reach out to an insurance agent or reach out to our office to see, is this going to be a purchase that can actually go through?
Yes.
Or is this something that's a no-go? So give us a call.
Yeah, that's a great tip for our, buyers and realtors out there. Just do a quick double check and make sure that it is an insurable situation.
You're going to call. You're going to call your agent. You can call your lender. You're going to call Bradley with the insurance, and then call your mom.
All right. Well, thank you, Bradley, for the tip of the week.
Yeah. Thank you, Bradley.
All right, that's Bradley Maruyama of Allstate Insurance. You can find him under the experts we trust. Well, we are going to take a break, but stay with us. When we come back, we'll be talking with Kim Crinella of Weddings on Oahu about what couples need to know before getting married in Hawaii and the unique traditions she's seen along the way.
All right, so stay with us.
Decades 107.9 playing the greatest music ever made. It's Mornings with Augie. Hey, someone that moved to the mainland but left the rental property behind? So Amber wanted to create a new investment opportunities on the mainland, but she had to sell her island rental first. So she reached out to our good friends Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally Real Estate Group of Keller Williams, Honolulu. Handling the business virtually with Amber, Adrian and Attilio came prepared with multiple 5-star selling strategies, including adjusting Amber's selling price expectations, and the home sold in days. If you're in the market to sell your home and you want a team that will make you the most money with the least amount of drama, you can trust our good friends Adrian and Attilio of Team Lally. Give them a call today, 808-799-9596. That's 808-799-9596. They're trusted. You see their signs all over in my community. Visit teamlally.com today. That's teamlally.com today.
Hey, Sean Hannity here with the only real estate team in your market that I recommend. Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally Real Estate Group of Keller Williams, Honolulu. A lot of people may be thinking about selling their home, but they want to make sure they're getting the most money possible. What options do you have available to make selling a home easier?
Well, Sean, the biggest headache people have is not actually the selling of the home, but getting it ready for sale. The cleaning, the repairing, the decluttering. 90% of painting a home is in the prep work, not in the actual painting, and it's not in the actual selling. Well, we got solutions.
That's right, Attilio. Here are the solutions. Our aspirin to the headache of prepping a home is our 10K for Upgrades program. That's where we do the project management of cleaning, repairing, and decluttering. That's how we make our sellers more money.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Call Team Lally now at 799-9596 or online at teamlally.com. That's teamlally.com.
In today's fast-changing real estate market, you need access to the right information to make smart choices. I invest in real estate all over the country, and I rely on smart agents who know their local market inside and out. In Honolulu, I work with Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardi. Adrian, Attilio, and their team sell a home every 72 hours and have over 750 5-star reviews. Go to teamlally.com and find out in just seconds what your home is really worth.
Welcome back, and thanks for listening to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or We'll Buy It. I'm Adrian.
And I'm Attilio.
And if you have any questions, you can give us a call at 799-9596 or check us out online at teamlally.com. Now, before we bring our awesome guest on today, I just want to remind our listeners that we are looking for some full-time agents.
Yeah.
And we offer an 80K guarantee.
Now, what that 80K guarantee is, we have about 15 things that we put into our position agreement in writing that if you do these, and they're not difficult things, they're just
normal habits of success.
Yeah, of successful realtors, and we provide you all the coaching and training, and it's not figured out on your own. But if you are a good, teachable person that can take direction, do what we tell you to do, and just do it on a consistent basis, we guarantee that you will make $80,000 in your first year, or
we will write you a check for the difference. And the reason that we can, put this offer out there is that the agents that actually have done half of these things have made way more than the $80,000. So.
Yeah, so you can be a half-butt realtor and make a lot of money on Team Lally.
But we suggest that you do all of these things and be very successful. So we are looking for some like-minded people to come join our team. You can go to jointeamlally.com and start the process there.
And by the way, if you want to take a little baby step, you can always go to hawaiicareernight.com, hawaiicareernight.com. We do Zooms and in-person career nights for the real estate industry.
Okay.
All right.
So our guest today is a dedicated wedding officiant who has been crafting love-centered, non-religious ceremonies on Oahu since 2016. She offers a wide range of options from intimate beach elopements and courthouse-style weddings to unique themed ceremonies and even tattoo weddings in a local tattoo shop.
With a background in photography and travel writing, she brings creativity, compassion, and personalized touch to every celebration, helping couples from around the world say, I do, in a way that's true to them. Please welcome Kim Crinella. Hi, Kim.
Aloha, Adrian and Attilio. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yes, welcome. We're so excited to have you and to share with our listeners your story and this uniqueness that you're offering here on Oahu.
So if I wanted a Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica mashup wedding, you're my go-to person?
Oh my God, that would be my dream wedding, actually. I have dreamed of doing a Star Wars wedding, but yet have to do one. But yes, I do themed weddings, and the most elaborate theme I've done so far is a Beauty and the Beast theme wedding.
Cool.
Bride and groom dressed. They weren't in costume, like you might expect somebody in a Star Wars wedding to be, but they just did, they had dressed in a white tuxedo and she was in a very formal gown and all the white red roses accents, and the reception was all Beauty and the Beast theme. But I wrote the ceremony incorporating a whole bunch of quotes throughout the movie. I went and got the script from the movie and just pulled out all things that were relative to the wedding ceremony and personalized a really nice script for them.
Nice.
Wow, that is really going above and beyond to incorporate the Beauty and the Beast theme into that, that whole experience. I'm sure that it was quite memorable.
Cool. I mean, if I was having one of those themed weddings from Marvel or something, I want people to walk by and go, is that a wedding or is that Comic-Con? But I mean, it's super cool, right? Because people, first of all, I forgot, where were we? we were on a cruise and they did, it was the Trivial Pursuit question. And one of the Trivial Pursuit questions was, where in the United States, where in the world would people most likely want to have a honeymoon? And the answer was Hawaii.
Yes.
Yep. So interesting.
Well, a lot of people like to incorporate their wedding into their, a lot of my weddings are elopements where it's just the couple, an intimate ceremony with just them, because witnesses are not required in the state of Hawaii to get married. So the couple can come out here on their vacation and then roll it right into their honeymoon, or sometimes they'll travel with just a few of their most closest family and friends, and then they'll just have a small wedding. I mean, there are big destination weddings here, but a lot of the couples that I work with are just small little intimate weddings.
Oh, nice.
So what do these couples need to do in order to prepare? Is there paperwork, or what's that process look like to getting married here on Oahu?
Yeah, It can be confusing, especially if you're coming from another state or another country, but people can come from anywhere in the world to get married in Hawaii, and they just need to go to the state of Hawaii's website to do the online application for their marriage license. And then once they get to Hawaii, and they can do that up to a year in advance, and then once they get to Hawaii, or if they're already in Hawaii, if they're local, then within 30 days of getting married, they actually have to physically go to the state of Hawaii's Department of Health and go get the physical license. They have to show their IDs. There's no blood tests. Like some states require blood tests. There's none of that. They just need to verify that you are who you say you are. So you bring in like a state ID or a military ID or your passport, show them that. Then what you have to go in together, though, and then they'll issue you the actual license. That license can be used immediately. There's no waiting period, so you can actually get married that same day, or you have up to 30 days to use the license. It will expire, though, if it's not, if you don't take it to a marriage licensed wedding officiant to get legally married, it will expire. So I'm a licensed wedding officiant, and I can legally marry couples. They bring me their license, and I'm able to either do a marriage license signing if they just want a quick and easy wedding, or if they want a more formal wedding, we do a wedding wherever they want to have a ceremony.
So Kim,
and that's it.
How last minute? Like, what's the most last minute kind of planner that you've come across in your experience?
I had a couple, they didn't understand the wedding process, and they thought that when they went to go pick up their marriage license, that was going to be their wedding. So they got all dressed up, went and showed up to get their license, and they picked that day because it was the anniversary of when they first met and had their first date, and they wanted it to be their wedding day. Well, she was mortified to find out all she was getting was her license, and she wasn't going to have that as her wedding day. So she went on to Wedding Wire, and I have a listing on Wedding Wire, and it's a wedding planning website. And she messaged me through Wedding Wire, and she's like, I urgently need to get married today. Are you available? And I saw the message. I messaged her back, and within 2 hours, I was making her dream come true. And her fiance and their daughter came, and I had a nice ceremony for them right on my lanai.
Awesome. And you have a beautiful lanai.
Yeah,
beautiful
you can see
views.
like all the way to Diamond Head from your place.
Wow, Kim saves the day.
So
those are situations I like being a part of, because it meant so much to them to have that day, and it can be a confusing process. And the state does let you know that you are going to need to take it to a licensed officiant, but sometimes people are just so excited about the process they miss some of the steps in. So I'm glad I was able to save the day on that one.
So if you're, I've been out of town for a little bit, you come back home, before you chug that gallon of milk, check the expiration date, and check the expiration date on your wedding certificate, because you got to get it done when official for the 30 days.
So Kim, is there anywhere here on Oahu that couples are not allowed to be married?
Yes, there are beaches that there are not permits available. The state of Hawaii will issue permits for many beaches, especially the most popular beaches, and you are able to have a ceremony with typically up to 30 people on the water line. So that's wherever the water is, just the farthest end that it's reaching right now at whatever time you're having your ceremony. They don't want you blocking people's access to it, and you're limited to up to 90 minutes. So you can legally get married at a beach, providing you get a permit from the state of Hawaii. There's also places like parks that you can get married at, but you do also need permits from them. So as far as where you can't get married, Ko'olina would be the big no-no that a lot of people request. That's a private... a lot of people question whether or not that's private access, but it is a private community, and they monitor their beaches, so they do not let outsiders. They have their own marriage.
They have a chapel there.
Exactly. They have several chapels there. So they require that if you're going to get married on their beaches, you have to use one of their services. So there's other places in the area that people can go legally. So I always just encourage people just to go down the coastline just a little bit, and that way you're not going to be interrupted during your ceremony, trying to sneak having a ceremony.
Yeah, I think it's important to call Kim, because if you just go and do it on your own, you might have Bobo from Alabama as your ring bearer.
So Kim, what types of traditions are popular for couples to incorporate? What have you been seeing?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people who are especially coming to Hawaii to get married from other places, they want to incorporate traditions that are seen as popular in Hawaii. So they like to incorporate lei exchanges. Some couples in their own culture don't exchange wedding rings, so they can incorporate where they exchange leis or even token gifts during their ceremony. I once had a couple, they packed their wedding rings in their luggage, and then their luggage never made it to Hawaii.
Oh.
So they showed up to their wedding in the clothes that they left in 2 days ago, because they still were trying to work out getting their luggage, and they had no wedding rings. And so they just tried to have a good attitude and go with it. They still wanted to be married. And instead of exchanging rings, because they were going to just have to get them at another time, I had them look for shells on the beach, and they exchanged shells. And it gives a token gift to one another in the moment. And then they had that as a keepsake as well.
Yeah.
That was a quick, on-your-feet kind of solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And another thing that couples like to incorporate is the honi honi. So it's the Ha Breath of Life tradition. And that's something that's not only a Hawaiian tradition, but it's also incorporated in many traditions around the world, where you put your forehead and nose together and share a breath of life. And it's a very intimate moment, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but when couples do it, they say it's a really special moment during their ceremony. It only takes a minute, and I highly recommend it for couples having a ceremony. It's really great for photos as well.
What's your favorite story of officiating a wedding?
I'd have to say I had a couple that they had a huge ceremony. It was like over 100 guests. It was up on a platform outside on a hula mound, and the whole entourage came out, got on the hula mound with me, and then they were going to do a lei exchange, and then everybody just looked at each other, and they had left the leis back in the room. And I thought real quick on my feet, and we had already started to kind of do the ceremony, and we're just going to start doing the exchange part. And so I invented the invisible leis of love, where I had the couple draw a heart lei, and then place that invisible lei over each other instead of an actual lei.
Yeah.
And the mother of the bride came up afterwards and said, "You saved the day. I thought my daughter was going to have a complete meltdown when everything didn't go exactly as planned." And she said, "Now you gave them a tradition that they can do no matter where they are every year. They can every year exchange an invisible lei of love no matter where in the world," because they're a military couple. So that was just a really special moment I don't think I'll ever forget.
Yeah, plus it's, even with the military discount, they're still cheaper than the ones down at the airport at the lace shops. So
now
that's a tradition. That's
we had mentioned in your introduction some like a tattooed themed wedding.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that. Can you share with our listeners what does that look like, and what's your connection to this tattoo shop?
Yeah.
Well, it's Neck Deep Tattoo in Kaneohe, and my husband that's his tattoo shop. He's a tattoo artist, and in 2018, he had some clients that wanted to get married and wanted wedding tattoos, and they knew that I was a wedding officiant, so they said, could we get married at the shop and get wedding tattoos? So that's where it all started, and we have done a couple other weddings as well. It tends to be like people visiting, or two of the couples were military couples, and none of them got rings. What they do is they come, they have a nice little intimate ceremony in the reception area, and then they immediately following the ceremony, they go in the back and they each get a tattoo. and they can choose whatever they want. They can choose a ring if they want, or if none of the couples have actually chosen rings. One couple got their date in Roman numerals.
Yes.
Another one got a lock and a key. Mm-hmm. And the third one they were visitors, and the gentleman got a hula girl that looked just like his bride.
Oh, wow.
And the bride got a tiki to represent her man.
All right. Anybody got like arrows pointing in one direction? I'm with her. I'm with him.
No, not as a wedding tattoo.
No neck tattoos. I'm with her. But yeah, that's cool. And then I'm sure you guys have that capability of doing the ring tattoos. I've seen those.
Yes. They can do that.
Yeah. A lot of I know military, like if you're a mechanic working on stuff or just in the military, you take your ring off, but you want that tattoo ring on there to still have that special meaning, but you just don't want your finger torn off and caught on something. So that's why they take the rings off in military situations.
So Kim, I know that our listeners are probably like, what is her website? How do I get a hold of this woman? I want to plan. I want to plan this wedding, or I know someone that might, need her services.
I think they just want to look at the pictures.
Or take a look. Yeah. So, what is a good website or social media? How can they learn more about what you offer, or how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah.
My website is weddingsonaoahu.com.
Okay.
Very easy to remember. Mm-hmm. I also have a TikTok channel that has lots of helpful tips, and I take video everywhere I go. Every time I do a wedding, I'm taking videos, so I share those as well. It helps to inspire people on because there's so many amazing options. It can be overwhelming to choose, and so it helps you to see what the different options are and find one that will best meet the background that you're looking for your ceremony.
Yeah.
All right. So lastly, as we wrap this up, what is your top advice for couples on their wedding day, Kim?
Remember the flowers.
Well, actually, I take this back to my own wedding day, where I spent so much time worrying if everybody else was having a good time. The whole day flew by, and I never took a moment for myself. So I actually stop couples and tell them, take a moment and just breathe it in, and just the two of you. Like, this is the day you've been waiting for. A wedding is just one day. Your marriage is your lifetime, and couples need to spend as much time on their marriage as they do preparing for that one day. So I want them to enjoy that one day without the stress of all the planning and just be in the moment. That is and to go with the flow. Because things are good. No matter how hard you plan and take precautions for things, there's always something that's going to go wrong or not the way you planned. And if you just go with the flow, you never know what might happen. And, that is life. And handling things like just as they come and using a positive attitude. If you can do that on your wedding day, you'll be all right. I always tell the people who are going to be together forever, because they're just so happy to be there being married. They don't care if they didn't have their ring or if they're not in their fancy clothes that they bought. Like, they just wanted to be married, and that is the point of the whole thing.
Awesome.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about, your wedding business. Again, it's weddingsonaoahu.com.
Wait, what's that website?
weddingsonaoahu.com. Hey. And then follow her on TikTok.
Kim, if somebody hears this about you on the show and then they book with you, can you promise to give us a call and let's have you back on the show and talk about it?
Yes. We want to hear about the radio wedding.
I want to know if Bobo from Alabama makes it in there as a flower girl.
Yes.
But, all right. Well, thank you, Kim.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on.
It was our pleasure.
All right. Again, that's weddingsonaoahu.com, weddingsonaoahu.com. All
right. Okay. So before we end the show, I want to talk about a lowest price condo in Waikiki.
Yeah.
Now, it's coming soon. It's going to be, and this is a fee simple. This is not a leasehold. Fee simple, $150,000.
150.
It's a studio unit on Alawai Boulevard. And, well, there is one thing, though, and we talked about it earlier with Duke. There is no parking.
No parking.
But don't worry, you can rent the parking. The parking is up for rent for $125 a month. But yeah, like low maintenance fees too in the 400s.
If you don't have parking available in the building, I had a vacation rental down there for 10 years. You can always find parking within walking distance of your unit.
Yeah, so that is coming. That is coming soon. Yep. That is a great price. Maybe for like a student, you could get on a little scooter and scoot your way to UH.
Some server working down in Waikiki.
Yeah, it's
somebody with a midlife crisis. They like just live in Waikiki, no need car.
Yeah, $150,000 and the maintenance fees are super, super low. Okay, so next we want to talk about a VA Assumable.
Yeah.
VA Assumable in Kaneohe.
In Kaneohe, this is 443082 Alina Street, Unit 512 in Kaneohe.
There's an assumable loan.
How much is the interest rate?
2.25%.
Open to veterans, non-veterans. Current mortgage balance is $562,000. Asking price is
$830,000. So there's the gap is about $268,000.
Estimated monthly payments is $2,636.
And with the total payment, it's about a little over $3,000.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is a great price. It's a wonderful home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhome in Yacht Club Knowles. So
2.25 is the assumable interest rate on that loan. So you might want to take a look at it. Hey, guess what? We have
another VA Assumable.
No way.
It's open to veterans and non-veterans.
All right. So
and this gap is under $80,000.
All right. So this is their deal of the week in Eva Beach, 91-1040 Kai Ho'ohonu Street.
It's a beautifully maintained home in Eva Beach, and it comes with a VA Assumable loan with a gap under $80,000, listed at 1.125.
Only $30 a month electric bill because it has 37 owned solar panels on net metering.
There's a 3-car garage. Use it for parking, a home gym, or just for storage.
Lush backyard with lanai, perfect for relaxing and entertaining.
Spacious upstairs loft, ideal as a home office, playroom, or second living room.
Close to beaches, parks, and local shops for ultimate convenience.
So whether you're a military buyer looking for an assumable loan or someone dreaming of island living with modern perks, it's a rare find in today's market. It's actually going to be open on Sunday, so please go out and take a look at that. We actually have 4 open houses in Eva Beach on Sunday.
You know what? Instead of running through them, just look for the cajillion Team Lally open house signs on Sunday between 2 and 5 p.m. Make it like a scavenger hunt. Let's see if you can go and visit all 4 of them.
Yeah, we have a 1-bedroom condo. We've got a 3-bedroom townhouse. We've got some single-family homes. So yeah, we've got a little bit for everyone.
I'll run down the price points: $370,000, $550,000, $818,500, and $1,125,000. We got something for everybody.
We do. All right. Thank you for listening, and thank you to our sponsors:
Jodie and Derek of Pacific Rim Mortgage,
Bradley of Allstate Insurance,
Kenji with Pillar to Post Home Inspections,
John with Kilauea Pest Control,
Duke with Hawaii Pacific Property Management,
Robinson Fine Line Paintworks,
Amphi with Estate Planning Group,
Jason Wu, Attorney at Law,
Rhino of Hawaii Unified,
Janice of Dreamhouse Drafting,
Fabio with Hawaii Water Damage Restoration,
Kyle of Impact Wealth,
Brian with Cleanscape LLC,
Benji of Hawaii Referral Agent,
and Danny Langerman of DHA Financial LLC. If you want to get a hold of any of our sponsors, all you got to do is go to teamlally.com.
We also want to give a big thank you to Leah Rodriguez, our producer here in the studio.
Chee-hoo.
Make sure to tune in next week. We'll have an awesome guest talking about something that'll change your life
forever. This is the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the guaranteed
sold program. If we can't sell your home at the agreed upon price and or time frame, we'll have it bought for cash. Thanks and aloha.